All right, here we go. I pledge allegiance
to the flag and to the republic for which nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Canzano?
Here.
Ms. Carnese? Here. Ms. Constantino? Here. Ms. Gibson? Here. Ms. Stiles?
Here.
Mr. Harper?
Here.
And Ms. Whitfield?
Here.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to the first meeting of Board of Directors for the River Valley School District. Very exciting time. We'll move on to approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from May 25th?
Motion.
Mrs. Whitfield, second.
Second.
Mrs. Stiles, is there discussion on the meeting minutes? Vote, please.
Ms. Carnese?
Yes.
Ms. Constantino?
Yes.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. Stiles?
Yes.
Ms. Whitfield?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
And Mr. Canzano?
Yes.
Motion.
Thank you. We have a superintendent would like to do a student recognition.
We would. Thank you, Mr. Harper. As part of our recognition we started a few months back of our students and staff, we had a little bit of a break last month, but this evening with us is some of our members of our track and field team, which participated in the championships in May. So I'd like to ask all you folks to come up along with Mrs. Richards and their phenomenal coach, Mrs. Milanick, Mr. Dixon, Mrs. McFarland's here. And then just talk a little bit about some of the great accomplishments of these student athletes during that time.
It's my pleasure to recognize the 4x4 track team this evening. They represented Blairsville, Selkirk, River Valley so well this past year. Both teams were crowned very middle champions at the Heritage Conference meet. At the District 6 championships, our boys were the relay champions and our girls placed third, and there were about 33 schools represented at that meet. Also, Mackenzie Simpson is not here this evening. She's on vacation. She was on the relay team and she also placed third in the 100 at the district meet. Both of these teams and Mackenzie made it to the state meet in Shippensburg. A little bit of a different format this year with COVID. Not as many spectators and they had to compete on the same day, but they represented us very well. So there are students that are being recognized this evening.
Thank you. Have a round of applause.
Introduce the teams, Brooke Garris, Sarah McConnell, and then I have Harvey Townsend down there, and then Mackenzie who's absent, and then we have Sincere McFarland, David Steller, Tristan Rossler, and Zach McFarland. And then our coaches, Missy Milanick, Jeff Dixon, and Marilyn McFarland coached our junior high team. I have a plan for you guys. This.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm thinking I do have a picture, just easier for me to get a picture. And so just want to come. Sure. That would be great. And then we'll. Yeah, where is it? This one's yeah, I'm not the greatest talker, so. Thanks. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Congratulations. All right. Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I want to thank these guys for coming out tonight.
Okay, moving on, we'll move on to reports. Mr. Canzano, the Indiana County Tech Center report.
Yes, the Joint Operating Committee for the OTEC met July 15th of this month. They recommend that each district and that their business manager especially check for the Pennsylvania unemployment compensation fraud. They found some fraud within their own ranks within the county. Some people are trying to collect or double collect on things. New student orientation will take place August 11th from 5:30 to 7:30. Again, students for this year enrollment is really up. 514 students enrolled for the 2021-22 school year. The ALICE training, which is security to be done over Christmas at United High School. These three things that I'm going to mention last have already happened. Open house happened July 26th from 5 to 7 p.m. Tuesday, 7/20, July 20th, the Conservation Building, which was built on the campus of the VOTEC, ribbon cutting for the new building was held. And last Friday, I'm sorry, Indiana practical nurse graduation was held up at the ICTC.
Good.
That was it.
Thank you, Mr. Canzano. Aaron report, Mrs. Stiles.
The Aaron Board of Trustees do not have a meeting in July.
It's an easy.
Yes.
PSBA report, Mrs. Whitfield.
Yes. Last week, the Department of Ed released new guidelines to help schools understand our obligations under Title IX. And Title IX prohibits sexual discrimination in education programs and activities that receive federal financial assistance. And the rule put into place under Education Secretary Betsy DeVos during the Trump administration has looked at change. And so this change from the department follows under, it hosted a series of virtual hearings last month where there were comments made by students, teachers, school administrators, and others on the way schools must respond to reports of sexual misconduct under the rule. So the mission of the Office of Civil Rights is to ensure equal access in education and promote educational excellence through vigorous enforcement of civil rights. This includes enforcing civil rights laws that prohibit discrimination based on race, color, national origin, sex, age, and disability. Also on Thursday, the Securing Universal Communications Connectivity to Ensure Students Succeed Act, which is really long, or the Success Act, was introduced. And if this bill passes, it's going to bring an additional $8 billion to the Emergency Connectivity Fund between 2022 and 2026. The fund received significant investments from the American Rescue Plan, but the education community thought more needed to be done. And this bill actually does that. Senator Marquet, addressed the importance of the bill by saying this: even after the COVID pandemic ends, we cannot ignore a key 21st century requirement, which is internet access. And he said essentially that the homework gap is an educational inequity that long predates the current emergency. We need to put the funding in place to ensure no student is forced to sit in a strip mall parking lot hoping to connect to a local store's internet in order to finish their homework. And I think that was a really strong comment, and it made me think, and hopefully this is going to be speeded up and it won't take until 2026. Yeah, that's a long time. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, let's hope they get some.
I'm sure she was giving a very good report, and I wish I could have heard it. You know, you guys are all right there, we're here, so that's not you weren't enunciating very well for us to actually
You
hear
don't
your
have
words.
microphones. That's okay.
We'll try to speak up. I know
If you could.
we'll try to speak up so everybody can hear. Mrs. Whitfield does have a soft voice. We have to tell her all the
She's gonna
time.
have to bring it up just a bit.
Just a bit.
Yeah, just a bit.
I'll try really hard.
We'll do better. Thank you. Standing committee reports, buildings and grounds. We met on July 12th. Mr. Guzano, Mrs. Stiles, Mrs. Whitfield, along with Mr. Hughes. We talked about the KLH sewer issue. Previous work didn't fix these manholes. A lot of the work is under the asphalt in front of the elementary school. We hope to get some better feedback soon. We're going to call up the plans from when we did the parking lot a few years ago to see if this was involved. But nonetheless, we do have a storm drain pipe that is not aligned properly with the storm drain outlet, and it's dumping into the Borough Township sewer system. Obviously, they don't like that, so we need to get that fixed. I think on the agenda tonight is for KLH to do a feasibility study on the issue for us. As you notice, when you walk down the hallways, there's a lot of construction going on. The univents, I like to refer to them as the air purifiers that we approved a couple years ago, are being installed. I told ABM they have to have it done 2 weeks before the start of school because teachers have to get their classrooms ready, custodians have to get the rooms clean. They can't be done the day before school. That's not going to work. They assured me that all the univents would be in. I wasn't very confident in it, but they assured me that they would have it. And Mr. Hughes said he would make sure they have it done. They assured me that the River Valley High School, middle high school will be ready for the first day of school. We discussed a pole barn. Mr. Hughes is interested in soliciting a pole barn for storage. We keep a lot of stuff off-site right now that's costing us monthly. We talked about putting it right next to this storage area here. But there's a lot of excavating that needs done there, so he had to go back and get some estimates on that. So that's not on the agenda yet. We talked to Sean Fagan, sanitary supply for new scrubbers. The scrubbers we have are aging quite a bit. They expect the cleaning with these new scrubbers to take 2,800 less hours per year, which equals a $44,842 savings. But the cost of the machines are $86,000 to $90,000, and that is on the agenda tonight. We talked to a company called Marquee about painting the sign out front, get rid of the orange and white, I think is what it is out there. The Bobcat logo, of course, putting up the RV logo and putting in a color screen. That's on the agenda for $5,000. A sign out in front to be replaced. I believe it says Blairsville Salzburg School District, obviously orange and black. That is to be replaced for a cost of about $3,400. And we also have on the agenda tonight painting in various areas, media room, wrestling room, football field, and so forth. So we covered a lot that day. Finance Committee, Mrs. Stiles.
Finance Committee met on July 21st as well. We discussed the FCC Emergency Connectivity Fund Program, which is the E-rate, and the consulting firm CSM Consulting. With the E-rate, we want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence. We can look at things such as Wi-Fi on the bus, on all the buses, $400 back on each teacher laptop, and then getting a cycle on the Chromebooks. That can be a reimbursable project. We talked about selling the Blairsville band uniforms. The price that we received, we believe was too low. So we decided to go back out to try to get more money for the band uniforms. We also talked about the Citizens Ambulance Agreement. That is on the agenda tonight, total $4,775. And we talked about the Tri-County Workforce Grant, $63,800 to provide career awareness activities. And that is a grant.
Thank you, Mrs. Stiles. Curriculum/Technology Committee, Mrs. Gibson.
Okay, we met on July 19th. We heard an update about technology for Twisted Computing. They talked about offering technology insurance to the teachers. We heard about updating student device guidelines, responsibility acknowledgement, and consent form. Also heard more about the Pixelot system that's going in at the stadium. Internet access to the stadium is going to run $600 a month, but the district can apply for an E-rate discount, which then should make the cost $120 a month. We heard about the emergency connectivity fund. We can get the cost of the Wi-Fi for the buses reimbursed for that. We'll be using Upcycle to recycle technology equipment again. We also heard an update from Mrs. Teacher and Ms. Figarelli about the summer credit recovery programs. Student and faculty handbooks are being updated. Summer curriculum work continues for ELA 6 to 12, social studies 6 to 12, Spanish 6 to 12. Grades 4 and 5, this is something new. We'll add Spanish 1 day a week to the rotation of specials, and that will be by semester. We heard that our application for the flex days, sort of no more school days situation, was approved by the state. The district submitted an emergency instructional time template for that. We heard an update about the River Valley Cyber Academy. We're planning to hire a coordinator for this, and we'll hear more about that physical space and final plans in August. On the agenda for approval tonight, that is part of these committees, annual renew for Adobe. This is Coast Guard's pricing of $2,490. Purchase of security cameras, again, a Coast Guard pricing of $45,700. Purchase of 10 smart boards, again, Coast Guard pricing $27,341.25. I like it when they have change added to it. Cost of Amplify professional development for middle school science teachers, that's $6,400. This is a requirement every year, 3-year agreement. Well, this will be a 3-year agreement for PAETAP. That is the evaluation tool for teachers and administrators at a cost of $31,424, which does include a 5% plus discount. Also on the agenda is a cost for an upgrade renewal for Career Zone for elementary students at $1,890. Purchase of AP US History and AP World History at a cost of that curriculum for $2,836.28. Additionally, cost of $15,000 to extend the credit recovery program for 2 additional weeks this summer. We heard a presentation from Dr. Daniel Sacco regarding his safety, security, and emergency preparedness consulting service. This will be a cost to the district for 2 years, no more than 580 hours per year. And this is going to be paid for by the PCCD and ESSER's 3 grant funding. We're going to approve tonight a grant in the total of $63,800 from the Tri-County Workforce. Also an agreement with WCCC for 2 more college and high school courses, sociology and American National Government for the 21-22 school year. Transportation, our last meeting the other day, the 21st, I think that was that date. We heard a little bit more about transportation. Wi-Fi is going to be on the buses, and that's going to be at no cost. The longest bus ride in the district will increase by 2 minutes. There'll be a $7,000 savings in fuel costs by combining and reevaluating some bus runs too.
Obviously, a lot going on in the
Yes.
curriculum.
Yeah,
So
lots
that
going
was
on
about an hour and a half meeting with a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, and I
Very
do-
exciting.
Yeah, and I do want to find out, we offer a ton of college and high school classes. I want to find out exactly how many credits you can get. And I know people have been saying, well, there's not new classes offered. Yeah, there are. I'm going to find out a list of those as
There's
well.
plenty of new classes.
Yep, plenty of new classes.
It took me half an hour to get here.
Okay, We'll get the comments from the public later. Policy
I
Committee,
didn't say the bus run was 2 minutes. I said extended by 2 minutes.
Policy Committee, Mrs. Whitfield.
Yes, the policy committee has been meeting regarding several policies that we're looking at, mainly under the 100s on curriculum. And we have nothing on the agenda this month, but next month we should. And Mrs. Roget is helping with policy and, I'm sorry, and Mrs. Roget will be helping with policy when she returns. And we should have several, maybe 4 for next month.
4 policies for next month.
That's what I'm looking at.
Personnel Committee, Mrs. Stiles.
The Personnel Committee met on July 21st. We discussed many issues that fall under executive session, so we cannot discuss those in public. However, on the agenda tonight is a 5-year agreement with the administrative assistant to the superintendent and confidential secretary, full and part-time. That is on the agenda tonight for approval.
Thank you, Mrs. Stiles. Negotiations Committee, Mrs. Hall is not here, but I don't believe anything has occurred with negotiations the past month. Liaison Committee, Mrs. Brown.
Nothing.
Student Activities / Athletics Committee, Mrs. Constantina.
We also had a meeting, it was on July 7th. We discussed dual sports, if there would be a contract, how we wanted the athletic directors to handle that. We said that would be up to them to make that decision, that we felt that students should be able to participate in multiple sports if they wanted to do that. The other thing that we discussed was the band uniforms. Mr. Alliance was here and gave a demonstration. We had a person online that went over what they're made out of and how they're cleaned and everything. And that was about it.
Thank you, Mrs. Constantina. All right, we're going to move on to citizens' remarks for agenda items only. We do have somebody who would like to discuss the health and safety plan from New Alexandria, Dawn Antoline Wang.
I came here tonight hoping to get some information about the safety plan for the year, but since that's on the agenda later, I'll just say what I want to say. I'm hoping that we're going to follow the CDC, American Medical Association, and American Academy of Pediatrics guidelines and require masks in school this year. I don't know when that's going to be decided. I'm hoping to get some information, and I'd like to know how parents are going to be informed of that decision and ongoing decisions as the situation changes.
The communication will be via letter, email, and I think our text system, remind system will be done that way. But please remember that health and safety plan all year last year was a moving target. Okay, I think everybody knows that. Communication come out, and no sooner did we approve the plan, new rules came out. Just today, the CDC said K through 12 should wear masks. But who knows who knows what the Department of Education is going to say, or there was another one.
Department of Health.
Department of Health. Sometimes they contradict one. Okay. But I'm sure it'll be rolled down to every school district to make a decision for themselves, and we'll see what we can do to make it safe for all the kids. I am excited to have the air purifiers though.
Do you know when the decision's going to be made for this school year?
We approved the health and safety.
The health and safety plan will be approved tonight, obviously, but as Mr. Harper said, the changes literally came down today. We were required under the new ESSER guidelines to submit that as part of the grant funding for the upcoming year by the end of this month. So basically, we're submitting this plan tonight, and it's going to already end up back in change as we evaluate those recommendations by the numerous government agencies. We probably will have a special meeting in the next couple of weeks. So it's likely it could change every meeting. We can update it as we get new information from the government.
Okay.
Thank you. Moving on to 6 items of business regarding finance. Unfortunately, I don't have any addendums tonight. That's exciting.
Motion.
I didn't say, let me finish. Items of business regarding finance, A through D. Motion,
Motion.
Mrs. Stiles, second.
Second.
Mr. Canzano. Discussion on finance? Vote, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Canzano?
Yes.
Ms. Carnice?
Yes.
Ms. Constantino?
Yes.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Stiles?
Yes.
Ms. Whitfield?
Yes.
Motion carried.
7 items of business regarding curriculum, A through K. Motion,
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Constantino, seconded by Mrs. Gibson. Discussion on curriculum? Vote, please.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Stiles?
Yes.
Ms. Whitfield?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Canzano?
Yes.
Ms. Carnice?
Yes.
Ms. Constantina?
Yes.
Motion.
8, items of business regarding personnel, A through M. Motion,
Motion.
Mrs. Whitfield, second,
Second.
Mrs. Stiles. Discussion on personnel?
Yeah, I had a question. On B, hire for new position. So Mrs. Franco was a kindergarten teacher, correct?
Yes.
So now she's going to be this facilitator and a reading specialist. So we got rid of 11 teachers with a great retirement package, and now we're creating new positions and hiring new teachers, because now we're gonna have to hire kindergarten teachers, correct?
This is not a new position. This is a reallocated position. It's a new position, but it's not a.
No, it's a new position.
It is not a new position.
It's a what?
It is not a new position. It is not a new position.
We've always had a facilitator.
The requirements under the guidelines now with the social and emotional learning, everything that the issues that our students are facing, we have to hit the ground running to make sure the remediation is at the forefront of our efforts to help them. From obviously all the damage, as you know, last year, and likely we may end up seeing this year if this continues down the path of a point.
So my question is, did we have a facilitator like this?
No,
So it is a new
it
position.
is not a new position, and I'd be happy to show you.
Any other questions on personnel? Vote, please.
Mr. Canzano?
Yes.
Ms. Carnese?
Yes on everything but K.
Ms. Constantino?
Yes.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. Stiles?
Yes.
Ms. Whitfield?
Yes.
And Ms. Brown?
Yes on everything but K. I have a question too. Can I do it now or later? I'm sorry. I should have done it earlier.
yeah, I
know
think you
what
should.
You're gonna tell me.
I'm sorry, that's why I paused when I asked for discussion. Ryan, is she allowed to mention? Because according to procedure, you're only allowed to vote at this meeting.
Right,
Well, I did vote.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, after the vote's taken, if you want to entertain the conversation.
I'll entertain the conversation. Go ahead, Mrs. Brown.
Okay, we're hiring people to help you and now you're taking on another position. Does that make sense to you? Don't you have enough crap to do without everything else and now you're gonna be the right to know officer, which is a pain in the neck.
It is a pain in the neck, but in the district, it's traditionally the superintendent or the business manager. So as of right now, kind of falls there, and Mrs. Gizzi's, agreed to accept up in the new Title IX position.
All right, that's my only question.
9, other business, A through K. Nope, I did that one. Yes.
So it is.
No.
No, we don't
Oh,
know.
I'm sorry, I had it right. 9, other business, A through K. Motion,
I'll make it.
Mr. Canzano, second,
Second.
Mrs. Gibson. Discussion?
I just have one discussion for the Salzburg Midget Football Association. There is a 9A, and I'm sure it's just something that, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, 9A, number 2.
Okay, 9A, like this two, Salzburg Midget, under, but on their boosters, I think it's 9A. I'm sorry.
Yes, 9A, number 2.
Let me get the booster thing here.
It's Article.
Oh, it's Article 11, finances. It talks about if they have excess of $15,000 after all equipment for the following season is purchased or reconditioned, it should be donated, that excess should be donated to the Salzburg Athletic Fund. And continues with like a donation letter should be prepared with stipulations outlining how the money can be used. All donated funds should be used for football equipment or training for the Salzburg junior and senior high school programs. I think this was probably what has been in the bylaws all along, and just that they need to go ahead. I think, I don't have a problem with accepting it. I think that we just need to add a motion to amend that so that it's subject to the solicitor gave me a motion to amend 9A to add words, subject to amendment of Article 11 as appropriate.
Are you making a motion?
Am I able to make that motion during?
Yeah.
So I'll make that motion, yes.
To amend.
We
You're
change that.
making a
and that's the
motion to
reason.
amend 9A number 2 and read that again so everybody can hear it again.
Motion to amend 9A to add words, subject to amendment of Article 11 as appropriate.
Seconded,
Second.
Mrs. Stiles. Discussion? Vote to amend 9A2 to add the motion words.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Panzana?
Yes.
Ms. Carney?
Yes.
Ms. Constantino?
Yes.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes,
Ms. Stiles?
Yes.
And Ms. Whitfield?
Yes.
Motion carried.
still on the table is 9A through K. We already had a motion on that, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, we had a first and a second.
Zanna and Ms. Gibson.
Mr. Kazana, Ms. Gibbs, is there any discussion, any other discussion on 9A through K?
Yeah, I do have something to say.
Go ahead.
So we have T. Richards Fine Painting, Signs by Excellence, KHL Engineers, Vegan Sanitary Supply. Were those just chosen, or did we discuss two other options? Because we always usually pick 3 people to do our work, and then we choose one. So did somebody just put these here because they know these people? How did that work?
These fall under the rate for RFPs, if that's what you're asking for.
I'm asking you if we had more than one person for the painting, one person for the one engineer. Is this the only one that
Well, if
was?
you recall, we had the bids on the gymnasium painting, and the winner was by far less than the others. So we granted him the minor painting in other areas.
The engineer, Mrs. Carney, I didn't, that's professional service. And I did reach out to the former solicitor because I knew that he had extensive experience with sewage. And this is the firm that he recommended to me. I made a recommendation.
Who recommended it?
Mr. Matt.
The matter is no longer here. And
His background.
this board makes those decisions.
It's just a recommendation that I give the committee because of the issue.
It did come in front of the committee. The committee did not have a concern.
This is what I don't like. That this board does not make decisions. This is just shoved down our throats and we don't make decisions.
I have
Some of
to-
you do, but a lot of us don't. Okay, I'm ready to vote.
I didn't get to come to this last month's meeting, last month's, one I missed. I would like to ask Connie,
Yes.
the fabric that you chose for cheering uniforms, is it gonna withstand a lot of washing and
You know, and it's the basic varsity cheerleader. That's where they're getting it from.
varsity?
It's varsity. So, you know, they're known for that. I don't think there's anyone else that's
And you
any
sent me a
different.
picture, but did they have the uniform there when you had the meeting?
No, they did not have the uniform there.
See,
But they had been brought in for the coaches to see. And all the coaches, I think, well, I think they had brought the coaches, some of the coaches had seen it. I'm not sure all 4 had seen it, but the coaches, whenever they were approached, they had seen it. But I would think it's probably similar to what they all look like. I don't think they would be.
well, for $25,000, I want something that's gonna withstand washing.
Right.
I mean, I think that's a little,
And
I did cheer
that
for
is
25
something-
years, I think
right.
that's a lot of money. And
Right.
I think you, as a coach, I'm not sure that these are young people we picked, which I'm not knocking them, but do they know fabric? Do they know that material? Is it gonna withstand these washings? Is it gonna be able to take a lot of deodorant and, which I know they wore on? And so there's a lot of things that, and I'm sorry that I wasn't there to ask those questions. But at any rate,
Honestly,
you're already
Linda,
doing it.
I will check with that, but I feel pretty confident that they ordered uniforms before and have been involved with them, and I would think that varsity
Well, I know varsity's good. I'm
is a
not
good
knocking
company.
that,
Right.
but I've seen some cheap ones they've had also, is what I'm saying.
Right. I have faith in the coaches that they pick the correct material.
Okay.
Any other comments? on other business?
I wanted to ask a question about this scrubber for $88,000. Like, what's up with that? Like, that's a lot of money.
It is a
It's
lot of
not
money.
just a
Mrs.
scrubber,
Carney.
but that's-
That's more than one.
Does
We're
it
getting
do,
more than
does
one.
it do the job itself?
There's multiple, about 10 scrubbers, okay? But what's troublesome, Mrs. Carney, is we sit in meetings and we discuss these in detail and we challenge the people that come to us with these quotes. And our building director, he finds it, he agrees with it. I take his recommendation, the committee takes his recommendation.
Gave you data supporting it.
These are public meetings, you can watch online.
I do.
And you can attend the meetings and challenge these suppliers. Okay, because I did just that the next day. Okay, I did just that. I challenged this guy about his prices.
You know, I don't ask these questions always for myself. I ask
I
these questions
understand.
for these people here.
And that's
That are
fine.
paying for him, the $88,000 and paying for all these things that you're presenting. These 10 meetings you have every month. So that's who I'm speaking for. They vote for me. I am their voice sitting here. So when I ask a question, I just want an answer.
And I'm giving you two. I'm giving you two. We-
So tell me about the scrubber.
The scrubbers are, let me see what we have. They did a feasibility study on cleanable areas, 2,800 less hours based on the speed and the quality of these new scrubbers. 2,800 less hours equals $44,000 in savings per year, where the custodians could be doing something else. It's 86, and we talked about it, $86,000 to $90,000 for the machines. And I asked about going out for bids because I thought this was a lot of money. This is the CoStar company, Sean Fagan Sanitary Supply. You're welcome to look it up because I did. I was a little concerned about CoStar companies because I keep hearing this, but I don't see a list. But you can go out to pa.gov and find CoStar companies. So Mr. Hughes also recommended them. He said he's looked at their machines, he's tested them. They provide all of the cleaning materials. So Mr. Hughes says he was happy with it. I am too, but I did challenge the gentleman. So I'm doing my job too for the taxpayers to make sure this is worthy. And in 2.5 years, we get our money back and there's a 10-year warranty.
So does this help create like not as many maintenance workers, right?
Well, maintenance people also have other things to do due to COVID. We all watch the news. We see what's happening again, the variant. They might find themselves busy again. This may actually prevent us from hiring another custodian.
Do we have to hire somebody to train them to use these machines?
Yes, they're going to provide training to the custodians. All that's in the package.
And that's,
No, it's in the package.
A lot of money.
Any other questions on other business?
I got a crazy question. but-
Well, we don't have. we're not-
No, it's a simple one.
No, sir, not at
Well,
this time.
here's what.
Not at this time, not at this time, no.
Really?
Go to vote, Alice.
Ms. Stiles?
Yes.
Ms. Whitfield?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
I'm going to say, and this is me personally, I'm going to say no on, I'm not going to pick out, I'm going to say no on all of 9.
Mr. Canziano?
Yes.
Ms. Carney?
Okay, I'm gonna say no on B, C, D, E, F, G, H, J. And yes on anything else?
Ms. Constantino?
Yes.
Ms. Gibson? Yes. Mr. Harper?
Yes. All right, that concludes the voting portion of our meeting. We do have some citizen comments tonight on non-agenda items. Up first from Salzburg, Jessica Harkins.
Am I going to just sit right here and talk or?
Please stand and address the board. I'll remind everybody, you address the board as a whole. If you call out an individual board member, I suggest you take that on your own time. Okay? Thank you.
All right, I'm Jessica from Salzburg. I just have a couple comments and questions here. And I first want to start with the school board members play a really important role in the success of the school district. But I really feel Blairsville Salzburg school board members have one vision of what that success looks like.
and thus for two communities, because only one is really being considered. While each member will bring their own talents and skills to the board to benefit the district and its students, they should also be able to effectively and efficiently be able to establish a plan to be a successful board of governance to the public district. There should be a vision that is reflective of the needs and goals of all of the students. But yet it seems like Blairsville-Salzburg school board members lack the ambition to have the skills and expertise to properly contribute to their communities. And yes, that's communities, it's plural, there is more than one. I know that's surprising because I feel only one is only really thought about. It's imperative that a school board member be aware of federal and state laws, regulations, and local policies. These laws and policies govern the work of the school board. As it appears, Blairsville-Salzburg school board members fail to pay attention to detail on those laws and how they work and what transparency is to the taxpayers. The superintendent is to serve as the chief executive of the local district to accomplish goals and fulfill the vision of the district. And school board members play a very important role in that responsibility to hire and evaluate a superintendent. I feel that we've set a really poor example for our community, our students, and the taxpayers of this community. Blairsville-Salzburg board members are to maintain an annual budget, ensuring the expenses of the public district align with the goals and are being spent properly. Again, the lack of transparency on how our taxpaying dollars are being spent seems to raise a lot of suspicions. Has anyone ever answered what this consolidation is going to cost or the renovations to the Blairsville school? I see the new colors, I see the new gym floor, I see that you started the football field. What about the STEAM Academy? What is busing going to cost? What is the curriculum? While I can appreciate a good prediction on savings for over a 10-year span, how truly accurate can those be? I didn't understand that being psychic is a skill being brought from the board. It's a prediction. It's not realistic. You haven't even taken the numbers of the students that are cyber schooling and what those are figured into this cost. Isn't it $30,000 per child with an IEP or 504 and $15,000 for a child who doesn't receive services? What about the ones moving out of our district completely? Have those all been calculated into this consideration of the consolidation? School board members serve as leaders and represent the community and advocate for our students. Blairsville-Salzburg school members are a direct reflection of their community it serves. You're to meet the needs and goals of the local school district and its students. School board members' responsibilities are really to the public, to which you should be accountable for. And it's vital that the school board members have open lines of communication with its community. Well, if this is Blairsville-Salzburg school members are a direct reflection of who we are as a community, I'm frankly embarrassed. I do not hold the same values on how this board operates. It's rather disgraceful and flat out embarrassing. The last year attending these Zoom meets and watching the amount of dysfunction and lack of competency is absolutely horrendous. School board members are to govern properly and effectively. After all, this is why you exist anyway. The school board member plays a responsible role, giving the superintendent his or her power in ensuring that they uphold the responsibilities that come with this position. And with all this being stated of what your responsibilities are, it really seems like it's a challenge for the Blairsville-Salzburg school board members. So again, I'd like to reiterate, how are our funds being spent? What is the cost of this consolidation? Where are the numbers? Why haven't we seen them? Why is it so hard for you to understand that we need transparency as we are the taxpayers? We demand transparency. We demand to set better standards within our districts, not only for the community, but for our children as well. And that's all I have to say this evening.
Can we just wait while you answer those questions?
The answer to financial questions are on or discussed during our budget review meeting.
Okay, we have the right to know, so we're gonna wait. We're gonna just sit here until you answer some of these questions, please.
I'm not.
Yeah, what's it gonna cost to keep Salzburg or do everything you're doing here? A big difference.
Okay, that's a different question, and you're not on the floor.
Jessica had the floor. Go ahead.
Jessica Clausen from Clarksburg.
So we are 23 business days away from the first day of school, and I have yet to receive a single answer for any of my questions regarding costs for reconfiguration. I've been asking since January. Of the few times that the board has responded to my questions, there has never been a dollar amount attached. I keep getting answers that these are not the final figures, costs are preliminary. That would imply that this board is making all of these decisions, costly decisions, without the relevant information. I sent a list of 5 questions after last month's board meeting, and it took 10 days and 3 follow-up emails to get a response. And the response didn't even come from the board. It came from Mr. Martell after I redirected the email to him. Still no dollar amounts in that email. Our school board members apparently feel no sense of obligation to correspond with the public and certainly are not being transparent. So I'm going to try again with some straightforward questions in hopes that you will be willing and able to respond. So I have plenty of my 5 minutes left. I hope I can get some answers. Why have no updates been made to the reconfiguration document on the district website since it was created in May? There's a timeline with all the dates and deadlines. Why hasn't that been updated since May?
We'll take a look at it.
I'm not gonna stand here until you
I
answer
haven't
the
quite
question.
answered. I mean,
And we,
I'm-
people, you need to let one person speak, or
Okay.
we will end the meeting,
And you-
and that's it. One person has the floor, and that's it.
There's a document out there, and if
Yes.
you go onto the website, there's a lot of people in the district that want to click on that link that says reconfiguration information. When you click on the link, it takes you to a stale document. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I mean, there's people that want to see a living, breathing document letting us know the progress. We saw the progress of the football stadium signs because the contractor put them out there. Not you, the contractor did. We're not getting the updates from you. Okay, secondly, what items from the reconfiguration plan are behind schedule?
That would also show up in the document you were referring to.
Right.
So I'm gonna say again, we need to update the document.
Okay, so the STEAM Academy plan, there's obviously things behind schedule there too. Not gonna answer that question. Will students be required, oh, we already talked about the masks. Is the drainage issue, the sewage issue, a showstopper, or is it something that can be moved forward on until it's fixed?
We're hoping it can be repaired in such a way that it'll work over the next school year, but we will trying to ask them to do the majority of the work next summer, so it doesn't interrupt the parking lot.
So if nothing's done, it's a showstopper, but if Band-Aid is put on, we can move forward.
Yeah.
Will you allow public comments to still be made virtually now that the meetings are open to the public in person?
Mr. Cribs?
Well, that'd be a determination of the board. I don't know that policy now allows it, remember, if you have live meetings, but if the board wanted to, it could.
I guess we can ask the board. That's something we want to do.
I appreciate it, good vote on that. What was the cost for the new signs put up at the football field?
Let me go back to your previous question, because I think that would affect policy.
Policy, right?
Yes, so if you're expecting a vote tonight,
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
but we'll take it into consideration. Mrs. Whitfield's in charge of policy. She'll look at the policy about virtual speaking at these meetings.
Okay. What was the cost for the new signs that David tried to put up at the football field?
That was on here, wasn't it?
No, on the agenda.
Well, she's asking about the signs, not the painting.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
We'll have to find out.
Who's on that committee? Who hired him? What
This-
committee is that?
Mr. Check has been involved with the district for a number of years in the community, so we leaned on him for these efforts, but we have gone out for RFPs for different services. Mr. Check did apply for it. The committee will be meeting soon, I believe. This is the student activities committee. We'll be meeting soon to look at those RFPs and make a decision.
So we haven't paid for the signs yet?
No.
What if you don't agree to the price?
I'll find it from Mr. Peters. It's within the bid guidelines as permitted by law that you do not need a second quote.
So we'll take whatever price he gives us.
Well, not necessarily. Okay.
We're struggling to find contractors like the rest of this country. I mean, we're looking, we're asking, we get things, we get them. I mean, if not, we have to open school. I mean, of course, as long as we're not violating bid guidelines.
Right, you can negotiate it before you agree to a contract with a single loan contractor. You don't just take the price he gives you after the work's been done.
So possibly this consolidation shouldn't be happening during
It's
the
ongoing.
pandemic.
It's ongoing.
It's
Okay, again, one person has the floor, and Mrs. Clausen, you're over 5 minutes, so we quickly ask the remaining questions.
I give you my 5 minutes, Jess.
I assume you're Deborah Gallant?
No.
I'm Deborah Galley. She can roll on to mine and if I need to.
Let's do it.
What's the cost of the football uniforms?
That is being discussed right now, right?
Are they
And we
ordered?
get a certain X amount of credits back from Nike. Yeah, that's being discussed right now.
Are they ordered?
Yes,
Cheerleading uniforms?
that was on the agenda this evening.
You don't have a price?
Yeah, we
That's on the
20,
agenda.
Oh,
20,
what was it?
25,000.
25, okay. The band uniforms,
they were purchased
That was
last month.
50,000, I believe that was. Okay, and are you aware of a $50 joining fee required to join the high school band?
What?
Is that a thing?
Never heard about that.
Okay. Some citizens, some people brought that up to my attention. I wanted to see if anybody knew possibly what a $50 joining fee was. I know they're doing mandatory fundraisers. To me, it sounded separate as something different, but there could be some miscommunication.
We can find out.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Mrs. Galley from Salzburg.
Yeah, there we go.
She gave up
First of
her.
all, is the Salzburg football field going to be dismantled? Are the bleachers being taken away and or the lights?
At this moment, there's been no discussion on that.
Is that a proposal at all?
No one's even discussed anything like that.
All right. One of the school board members told me, I think it was in April, that it would be a hop, skip, and a jump before you had our elementary kids to Blairsville. Does that sound like something in the
I'm
works?
not going to respond to rumors and hearsay. I'm sorry.
It's not rumors and hearsay.
Ma'am, it is. It is. That, again, that's another subject you brought up that just has not been discussed.
That is not, okay, it's not been discussed, that's fair enough. Right, because they, they were pretty confident that it would be a hop, skip, and a jump until our elementary kids were here also. Okay. Now, what I need to know is, when did you have, what was the time frame, the meeting, when you discussed Blairsville students being transferred to Salzburg? When was that meeting? When was there any conversation that Blairsville students could possibly go to Salzburg?
I don't think it ever was.
That was Dr. Corin at that, his presentation. I don't know the exact date. I think that was pre-COVID.
Yes, it was.
Pre-COVID?
Yes.
You actually had a meeting? and-
Man, I don't remember.
I think it's very important.
Well, you're welcome to look through the meetings on the
No, I
website.
think that should be some information you would be. able
And it
to
would
give
take me
to
probably a
the
half hour to find it for you, and I'm not going to do that right now.
Do you think it has been discussed?
It was.
It
It's in the
was
proposal.
discussed. Yes.
It was a
Dr.
proposal.
Corin, yes. And he talked about it in public.
It was even in the newspaper, if I
Yes.
recall.
And it was just knocked down because why? The Blairsville members of the board were more than, so they just knocked it down. Not because any reasons where it would be more expensive. It would be-
Yeah, we're repeating ourselves, but the facilities at Salzburg was not big enough to house all the students. That has also been discussed.
But neither was this one, and we're making a
Yes, it
combination.
is.
It was discussed. It was discussed in detail,
Okay,
in public.
okay, that's hard to understand and hard to believe when, I didn't say it, but we'll have to take your word for it now. As far as the students with masks, I hope you all think about that hard and long. There's really not much data that says the children are getting sick. And I think it's harder on a child to be covered. So that's just my
Agreed.
opinion, obviously. So please give it some extra thought and actually look at the real data.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's fine.
From Salzburg, Sylvia Beddick.
I think I'm gonna pass unless somebody else would like to use my time.
Billy Wilds from Salzburg.
I just have a question. You said there's 2 minutes added on to the bus route. What do you mean by that?
The longest ride will be at, that whatever the longest ride is, it's gonna be 2 minutes longer.
So my child, which takes 5 minutes to get to school, now will only take 7 minutes to get to school.
It's whatever the longest ride was.
And my child took 5 minutes, so now it's gonna be at least 45 minutes, possibly an hour, depending on the roads. Understand?
That's the information that I was given, the longest.
So in turn, my child could possibly, on the bad roads, be on a school bus for an hour and 20 minutes, possibly, with stops and hugs from your parents and wait and hold on. Bus sits here for an extra 10 minutes. My child might be on a bus possibly between 2 hours to 3 hours per day, which I'm sure students from Blairsville, they might have a 10-minute ride, might put 20 minutes, 3 hours possibly for
Wasn't
9
it-
children.
Wasn't
Be
it a
on a bus
45
per
minute bus
day.
ride? Was the longest bus ride.
47
is
minutes.
47 minutes.
47, that, okay. But that's, did your bus go and did it stop? Kid got on, bus roll.
But what they did, sir, they kind of.
43, excuse
What
me,
did the
43.
bus runs again? 43?
Have you ever been behind a school bus?
My dad operated school buses.
Then I'm sure your father knew very well that each stop isn't 10
Yeah, but
seconds.
what they did was they looked at the bus runs again
Okay.
and combined some runs and changed some
Did they do
runs.
this, did they do this in January when we got 8, 10, 12 inches of snow?
School will be called off then for all the.
School be called off that day.
Average student.
Okay, how about 4 inches of snow? Muttontown Hill, Hills by our house, sometimes they're not passing. Sometimes kids will have to sit in front of the hill in the bus. And whenever we're in school, sometimes they're sitting there 25 minutes just to get up that hill.
When my girls were in school, I live out like 217 and Power Plant Road. That was the longest bus ride on both sides of the district for
I
years.
just don't think our students are getting a fair, because my child will get home at 5 o'clock. Jump out of the bus, run in my house, put your football gear on and go to practice. Now I'm gonna have to tell my son he can't play football because he can't eat. No dinner time with the family, no time to study, no time to do any book work. What's he supposed to do on the bus on the way home? This is my biggest complaint with this. And this is why my children will be cyber schooled, is because number one, I don't trust the bus ride for that long. Number two, I absolutely think that our children in Salzburg are suffering a great deal because of this, because the majority of their day will be stuck on the bus, not in books. Their schoolwork is definitely going to plummet. They won't be able to do any after-school activities because, school practice till 8 o'clock. We get home at 9 o'clock. Get your kid to bed. Get up at 4:30 in the morning. Get up and do it all over again. It's ridiculous. I can't stand it, and I can't believe I got through all this without swearing. So.
Well, thank you for that.
Right. I think Linda can say this too. We did an actual bus route a long time ago with an actual school bus and stopped at all the stops.
From Rose Road in Salzburg, where.
And it was a lot longer than 40
It
something.
was a lot longer than 40.
Smith Bus did the plan?
Yes.
And they adjusted the run. I don't know.
Wasn't done.
You know what, it's gonna be longer. It's just gonna be long.
Okay,
Trust me.
Okay, you're gonna make arrangements, listen to me. You're gonna make arrangements for the parent that drives their kid to the bus. And she is, oh, hey, wait, there's so-and-so, they're coming up the driveway. So we're gonna wait for that parent to get there, put that kid on the bus that's already, we've wasted 5 minutes. Kids don't run to the bus. They don't jump on there and run to their seat and go sit down. It doesn't happen.
All I can say is I would expect Smith Bus took those situations into consideration.
Okay,
They accounted for stop time.
yeah, I know what they did. I was on that
So the
bus.
longest a child will be on a bus in the entire district, to and fro, will be 86 minutes, not 2 hours, not 3 hours.
I don't think you've driven our road then, because 4
So-
behind any more buses.
Anything else, Mrs. Trees? Douglas Call of Salzburg? Douglas?
Yeah, that's me. This don't seem like we're getting a lot of answers on things. I have a question for everybody here, just simple. I got more than one question, but here's a simple one. Has anybody ever been part of consolidation when they were in school? I just want to see a show of hands.
My
Did
elementary.
anybody ever go through it?
My elementary did.
Okay,
Yeah.
now here's another question for you.
That's not a consolidation like
Yes, it
this.
is. I wanted my own elementary school. I could walk there.
No, I'm talking about a school closing and going to another school.
I want, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like that.
Okay,
Have to be quiet.
what's your mental health plan for the students coming here from Salzburg?
Well, you saw that we have some people coming in, we're having extra counselors, if necessary.
But those aren't.
But we've always wanted extra counselors.
Okay, but, okay, council.
You're proving that our kids are gonna have.
What
Cole has the floor. Mr. Cole has the floor.
Okay. What's the bullying plan? Because it better be stepped up compared to what the past has been for the school district period across the board.
If there was a solution for bullying, every school district in the country would have it.
Okay, but are you upping your game?
We're gonna do the best we can. We're gonna do the best we can.
Need the help of the parents with bullying, though.
When's that gonna be in writing?
Good point.
We have the bullying plan, right?
We did, but we also.
Okay, but I said step it up.
Yeah.
They say have a bullying plan.
We also hired Mr. Sacco this evening. We're upgrading all our safety and security plans to include our school health and climate surveys. We're going to be working on that this year extensively. We are.
Okay. What is the bus contract costing the school district? Which has never been discussed. The numbers have never been thrown out. There's no transparency to it. You don't want to talk about what it's costing for consolidation. So let's talk about the school bus contract.
The school bus contract was signed 2 years ago.
Yes, and it was.
Okay, so they're not charging no more money for doing these changes.
Actually, we're saving $7,000 in fuel.
No, we're saving 7,000 gallons. We're saving $21,000.
Okay, is there something in their contract that they can up that? Because with the price of fuel.
It's a so many year contract. And
We actually get a bigger.
Oh, they're actually getting a break on that. But you're still.
And we're getting a bigger.
238 students. You don't care about.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
238 Salzburg students, you can care less about.
I think that's inappropriate.
How's that? You don't care if they're on a bus.
I think
You don't care if they're going down Route 22 where there's
I
accidents.
think that's a very rude thing to say.
Well, that's how I feel.
That's fine.
It might be a rude thing to say, but that's what you voted on. Did you take that into consideration? Did you take their mental health into consideration? No, not at all. How long are they gonna be on a bus for?
You're here for the kids or for yourself?
Mr. Cole has the floor. If he gets interrupted again, we'll just end the meeting.
Well, it's not my fault.
No, but people are interrupted.
Well, we don't want to do that.
You want to follow procedure and have a formal meeting?
I'm following procedure.
You're doing very well. Thank you.
I am trying my dangest.
Trying not to swear like the other time.
I know how to hold my tongue,
I understand.
but where's the cost savings on consolidation? What is it? The cost savings. I'm not asking what it's costing. Where is the cost savings on consolidation and how much?
Well, let me give an answer because a few people have asked about the financial situation. 2 years ago, we had $11.5 million in the fund balance. Then it dropped down to 9. Now I think it's around 6.8. We were bleeding money. Mr. Martell comes in, puts this plan together, which we approved. Now the bleeding has stopped. Not only has the bleeding stopped, we're able to add more resources and more classes, better curriculum, and more challenging classes to our students. There's your financial plan.
Oh, I get that. There's a financial plan for everything, and that's why you brought in a consolidation expert. But I'm not singling anybody out. But what is the figure? What is the dollar amount?
32 million is our budget?
34 million, almost 35 million, if I need to remind you.
Okay, I could look it up, but that's fine.
I know what it is. That's
Sir,
fine.
to me, a great education is priceless. I'm very proud of what we're going to be able to offer to these kids in this school system, middle school, high school, plus the STEAM Academy. That's going to be, there isn't going to be a dollar amount put on that for them,
And we did not raise taxes.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Education is priceless.
Oh, I know, I agree with you. I got
This
you
isn't about
100%.
education. Yes,
We
it
know what
is.
it's about.
It's about making a better education. for all these kids.
Mr. Cole, you have 30 seconds left. You like to say anything else?
I wish you guys would have voted another way and looked at things another way instead of rushing this through. During a pandemic time, what you did, and you did the Zoom stuff and pushed a button on the computer to shut people off. I'll leave it at that. I'll be at the next meeting.
I have a question, okay? I had asked you this before. I asked you this. When we discussed before about the $500 for our senior citizens to come in to do classroom work or do something with, what happened to that program? It just dissipated?
I think when we discussed that, we had rotating superintendents at the time. So maybe.
Well, then maybe we ought to look into that again, because we have a lot of senior citizens that could use that break, especially now.
And I like you keep bringing it up, so don't
Well,
let
I
go.
try.
Well, I think Mr. Martell has made the note. Try to get something. Thank you. Those in favor to adjourn, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Meeting adjourned.